Happening. What can we do for our young people that are getting entwined with rock music? And maybe you could elaborate on some of the dangers there.
Rock music is a very powerful snare that demon spirits are using to captivate the young people and draw them away from Christ and His protection. And in a trip into the supernatural, in the angel book, I talk about a couple that visited us in remember Australia? 1991, that is correct. In the book, in the angel book.
Right.
I have in there an experience that is very interesting due to the fact that the people who experience the rock music ensnarement were in our home in the fall of 1991 and were seeking very special help. They came all the way from across the world. The parents are super wealthy, and what happened here is that this man married this fine young lady, and it wasn't too long after that he started to have some real problems. And here's what happened. They went on their honeymoon, and entering a big city, they saw all of these billboards and signs talking about this artist, rock artist, and his gang that was going to be there playing. Mm-hmm. And the bride said to the husband, "Oh, will you buy me tickets? We'll go and see it." And he had just decided in his heart that he was not going to go to these concerts anymore. You see? He had decided that. But then he got this tremendous feeling that, man, this is our honeymoon. This is, I got to do something for my bride that's going to really please her. And he gave in and went to the rock concert. And while they were in the rock concert, like the high priest used to say, when a person enters an establishment that is dedicated to the service of the great master,
meaning Satan,
yeah, such as astrologers, fortune tellers, different capacities, hypnotists, mm-hmm. and people like that, the angels of the Lord are not able to come in there. But he did say at one time that the Spirit of the Creator could. There was no limit to the Spirit of the Creator, see? But the angels of our rival, Christ, cannot enter there because of the fact that these rock artists usually dedicate the building or the area that's going to be covered by the listeners. Mm-hmm. They circle it 3 times in one day or 3 times, 3 consecutive days, and they sang a mitra, which is a prayer for possession. And they actually prayed to the great master and his angels that they will captivate every young person that enters that area and control them in their lives, etc., etc. So what happened is this. They come out of this place, and the next day they're driving down the road, and she sees the word green. Harley Davidson motorcycle. They were following a Harley Davidson motorcycle, and the guy had, on the back of it, a big sign, Harley Davidson on his jacket, and things like that. And she started to cry for no reason at all. And her husband says, "What's the matter with you? Are you hurting somewhere?" "No, but for some reason I'm just crying." He said, "Look, stop this nonsense." So they go down the road, and they see a sign, and on it says green, will say a green label, tomatoes. You see. And she starts crying again. That's an hour later, for no reason at all. Boy. And do you know that she started to go into almost trance in difficult situations that were unbelievable. And the father phoned me up from across the world and said, our son-in-law and our daughter wants to go to Endicott, New York to see you, so you can pray for her. And she believes if she be anointed, that the whatever is taking place, the
some
doctors,
type of possession she was wrestling with.
yeah. We noticed when she was visiting us that she had something in her ear, and a little wire about behind her ear, and then into her hair, and it was into her handbag. There was something in her handbag. She had a little player that was playing rock music. And he one morning came in to see us because he said, my wife can't come because she's been crying all night. But he said, we hope that the minister will agree to anoint her, you know, etc. And I asked him, I said, let me ask you, is your wife listening to rock music on her little
Walkman?
Her little radio? It was a cassette player,
right.
Tiny little one. He said, I'd hoped that you wouldn't ask me that question. He said, yes. And I explained to him. I said, powerful spirits have found an avenue to control your mind's, your wife's emotions. See? Here's the way it goes. The high priest said that the demon spirits love to play games with Christians. First of all, they love to move upon people's imagination and to create strong feelings of anger, fear, love, and grief. They can create all these feelings into people, and people believe it's their own, it's their own being that feels this way. Mm-hmm. And then from there on, I told him how we're going to pray for his wife. He went back, she was anointed, and he went back home, and things were not any better. Things were worse. Until one day, Daddy phoned me up, and he said, Roger, my wife has had a terrible experience yesterday. She doesn't have any broken bones, but boy, did the spirits ever do her in. Almost kill her. He said, I was in the kitchen, and I heard go down the hallway to the bathroom. Then I heard her yelling and screaming and help, help, help. Some invisible being grabbed her by the hair from the back, brought her in the bathroom, and there was a tile floor, threw her on her face, and bashed her head until blood is flowing all over from her nose. Her eyes were cut above her eyes. And he came, and he said, he said, dear Jesus, please help. Because I told him that. If that something ever happened, and you have you know that it's the presence of demon spirits, you immediately say, dear Jesus, please help. Mm-hmm. Immediately, the force gave up. And he says it's just like a strong man had her by one shoulder,
in her hand, yeah,
bashing her head. And he brought her up and cleaned her up and all of that. And he said, what should we do? I said, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to have your stop. I said, the idea of you and I and everybody else praying for her is marvelous. You know, we should do it. We shouldn't stop. But you got to have her pray for help herself. Well, he says she can't pray for help because as soon as she starts praying, her jaws lock up. You see? And as soon as she says Jesus, it's like pushing needles into her ears. You see? And so anyway, I said, you take her like she was a 2-year-old and have her repeat every word after you. Mm-hmm. And do you know that she couldn't open her mouth, but she could say, dear Jesus, please help, you know? And she started to pray. She said, you got to pray for herself. She got to pray for divine grace. And you instruct her, you have her pray along with you. And that broke the bond of bondage, and that she was free. She had a beautiful child, and they got a letter a few months back, and they're happy.